standards at UTA or strategist. And Jen has been instrumental in kind of helping the site selection and kind of supporting us from the UTA perspective. After Jen talks, Mary Streets has joined us tonight, and she's with Commerce, Commerce in Provo. You may remember her name was brought up a couple times last week as the Nelsons were talking. Mary is very familiar with Utah County and spent a lot of time there, and so she's going to give us some perspectives on kind of what their thinking is with the site. So we'll do that, and then we'll take a break, and then we'll come back and we'll have the presentations. So, thank you. Go ahead.
Okay. I don't have a PowerPoint or anything. That's just not my style. I just printed out some notes. Lynn wanted me to talk about a couple of different things, but I would love if you guys have any questions or anything as I'm up here talking. Please just raise your hand or shout it out or whatever. I hope that this will be more of a conversation than anything else. Just to give you guys a little bit of background, well, currently I'm a strategic planner at the Utah Transit Authority. Although that title doesn't in any way describe what it is that I actually do. I do almost no planning whatsoever. Richard, on the other hand, does a lot of planning. He is in the long-range strategic planning group, and his group looks at sort of the longer-range stuff, 5 years, 10 years, and beyond. And my group does project development, so we're looking at 0 to 5 year stuff. And we basically manage planning projects and studies we're getting them up and running, and we manage them through the process to completion, and then move those projects, if they're viable, onto capital development.
So some of the sites you're looking at right now are what, along the tracks line?
So I will tell you what my specific project sites are. I have a study that just kicked off today. We just had our kickoff meeting today for downtown streetcar alternatives analysis. It's really a Salt Lake City project, and UTA is just a partner in as much as we are managing the grant. For Salt Lake City, we really don't have any money in this particular study. We were asked to partner with Salt Lake City because they needed somebody to manage the grant. Our role is very different depending on the project. We recently kicked off a study for South Davis, so we're looking at possible corridor alignments between downtown Salt Lake City and South Davis County. Just looking at what could be the potential alignments, what are the potential that. I'm on Sugar House Phase 2. How many of you guys read the paper, watch the news? But that's been getting a lot of press lately. Not all of it. And I actually have been involved in Sugar House Phase 1 from the real estate side. I was hired on in the property administration division originally, and that was my project, and I've held on to that project to see it through to completion. Sugar House Phase 1 will be substantially complete August 2nd, and we'll start running test trains, and we'll start revenue service in December. So we're really excited about that project. It's really unique. It's a great partnership between UTA, Salt Lake City, South Salt Lake, the RDA, Salt Lake County, Scott Trail. Yes?
Can you tell us a little bit about it?
Yeah, what do you want to know?
I know nothing about it now.
Okay, so the Sugar House streetcar, which I guess in reality isn't a streetcar because it is running in an old rail corridor rather than in the street with traffic. If you're familiar with the old rail corridor, it's just south of 21st South, about 2200 South, maybe not quite. It runs east to west from our tracks line at about 3rd West, and the terminus of that particular line right now for Phase 1 ends in McClelland. So if you're familiar with Fairmount Park, maybe, the old Granite it is considered a greenway. There is going to be a multi-use trail in the corridor with the vehicle itself. So it'll be a walking, cycling, running trail right in the corridor, so it's unique in that way as well. There will be sort of plaza areas, most particularly close to the eastern terminus point in the Sugar House sort of monument area. It's really been an exciting project to work on. It's had a lot of support. Unfortunately, phase 2 has not had the same support. For those of you who are not familiar with phase 2 has a sort of A, B, and C component. A brings the line from where it terminates currently in McClellan to Highland Drive. B takes it north to the monument, so basically at 21st and Highland. And C takes it to 17th South, so north along the east drive. But the locally preferred alternative, which is that route, was approved by the council just a few weeks ago. So hopefully we'll be moving forward on that, which just means we'll move into the next phase, which is the environmental. Does that answer your question? Yeah.
Could you give us a few examples of the types of studies that you guys conduct? Like, do you know what they're called? What the name of the study is?
So more than just the three that I mentioned, or are you talking like types of studies in terms of like alternatives analysis,
Specific study topics.
environmental impact statement, that kind of thing,
Or like, I mean, are you creating a study to gather data on a proposition that you guys already have? Like, oh, well, what if we put in a rail system here? Will that area support it? Or what's the angle in which you're using? Or do you do a study that's completely blind in the sense that you find data and then discover what kind of needs there are?
These things kind of come from all different directions. For example, the site that you guys are going to be looking at in American Fork, Richard and his team are about to embark on a study. They're doing these station area plans, and American Fork is one of these. And that just came out of necessity. I mean, the station is there, there's nothing around it, so it makes sense for us to look at that and say, what should we try to do in this area to help make it, bring it to its highest and best use, increase ridership, et cetera, et cetera. Sometimes things come like Sugar House, phase 1 was a success. Where should we go from here? Okay, we should do a study, phase 2 to see where it should go. That study was done, and from that came the locally preferred alternative. While they were doing that study, they looked at a number of different routes. Should it go east? Should it go up into the Shopco shopping area? Should it go up to 13th East and across? Should it go across 13th East and then up 21st? Should it go across Highland Drive? So, we do those studies to say, okay, we have this line here, sort of terminates, where do we want it to go? Do we want it to go south? Do we want it to go north? Do we want it to go east? Or
Do you call that a use study, or what do you call that specific study? Which direction it's going to go?
feasibility study.
Okay, feasibility, and then you mentioned alternative use. What would that be?
Alternatives analysis.
Okay.
Yeah, that's what we're doing in the one we just kicked off today. Actually, all of this terminology is dictated by FTA, and they actually have gotten rid of the alternatives analysis. That doesn't exist anymore. The streetcar study is actually the last UTA, or study that UTA is a part of that actually fell under the alternatives analysis title. It's very vague right now what it is we're supposed to do. They have told us to go do good planning. So we're sort of in a gray area right now with FTA. We're kind of taking the training wheels off and riding free. Go do good planning, yeah, until they figure out specifically what it is they want from us. So it's a little bit ambiguous and scary for us. We don't know if we're heading down the right path or not. So what we're doing right now is we're proceeding as if it's an alternatives analysis, and we're following the rules that are set for that.
Now, now when you go, now talking about the American Fork site, when you say you're kind of you're thinking about, you got UTA's thinking about what they want there. When we were at the site last week, pretty much the ground that UTA owns is the ground that's the parking lot and kind of where the stop is. And so, and I don't know that, maybe you can address this, but I don't know that UTA has any money to kind of really impact anything outside of where their property lines are. So the question is, are you guys talking about
acquiring like
acquiring
additional property?
more?
No, our role is more as a facilitator and to sort of assist the city and the property owners in creating a vision. And the reason for that is it's to our advantage to make that as desirable a place as possible, to get as much density there as possible, because that increases ridership.
Mm-hmm.
So we partner with like American Fork or other cities to say, hey, what do you guys want to see happen here? We go through these processes, data collection and such, to try to figure out what makes the most sense here. And as far as I know, and I feel confident saying this, UTA doesn't have any desire to purchase any property there. Yes.
So when determining the route, like for the streetcar, what are the deciding factors in saying, oh yeah, 11th East makes most sense? Is it because rooftops or?
So there are a lot of factors that are involved, and what we do is we put out an RFP and we hire a consultant that does that work. The kinds of things that they look at are things like their generators. So for example, the 11th East alignment that heads north terminates at Westminster. Now colleges, institutional buildings and such, universities, hospitals, these are really big trip generators. So that's a huge consideration. Where are we going to get ridership? Things like what's the situation on the ground? What are the utilities that are already currently in place underground? Are there issues with elevation or grade change? For example, going up 21st South, there's an elevation change and there's a grade that happens once you start heading east. It becomes challenging for a streetcar. That you would maybe need to look at something more like a heavy rail to be able to manage. There are also things like ownership issues. Staying on the Sugar House example, a lot of people have said, why can't we go east of 21st and then go north across Foothill and connect with the U, which is an excellent idea. But Foothill is a UDOT road. It's not a Salt Lake City road. So that requires buy-in from UDOT. UDOT has to be supportive of that. They have to be able to work that into their program. And they are not necessarily there. So that's a huge factor in considering, if we go east, are we dead-ending ourselves because we don't have anywhere to go because of that UDOT road? Things like acquisition. If we go this way, or this way, how much is it going to cost us in acquisition? So there are a lot of things that are considered.
That is.
I kind of jumped the gun on a few things, but and I don't even know, Jen, if I let you introduce yourself. But Jen is a
Do you want me to back up a little?
Jen is an MRAD grad from this program.
I'll give you a quick, hopefully super quick, professional and educational history. My journey here is sort of abnormal in the sense that 5 years ago, all I had was a high school diploma. Today I have 2 bachelor's degrees, a graduate certificate, and a master's degree. My bachelor's degrees are in political science and urban planning, a graduate certificate in urban planning, and then I have an MRAD. I actually selected the MRAD program over the master's in urban planning because of the finance component. I felt like that was missing in the planning program, and it really is. It's non-existent. And as you all know, if you can't make a pencil, it's not going to happen. So really understanding that finance component was really important to me, and that's why I selected the MRAD program, and it was a wise choice. It gave me professional background is really a lot in real estate. I worked for a private developer in Las Vegas prior to and during the downfall. They actually do not exist anymore. And then when I moved back to Salt Lake City to go to school, I worked for Salt Lake County in the real estate division. And then my entry in the UTA was actually in the property administration division. I always wanted to get into planning, but the property door opened first, and so I walked through it. It actually took me over a year to get into planning and 3 attempts at trying to get a planning position. I applied for 3 different jobs before I got the one that I'm currently in. So that's the quick and dirty. Did you have a question right there?
I was just wondering if you worked for the county.
I did previously. Yeah, I worked for Salt Lake County. for
County
8 years.
alumni.
I'm sorry?
I worked for the county alumni.
Oh, okay.
I thought I recognized. Yeah.
Yeah, Lee Coleman, Mary Ladle, me. That was it.
I think I reviewed. Didn't you guys do your project on like Meadowbrook? Your senior project
We did the RDA.
out in West Mill Creek.
Yeah, exactly.
Laundry tower area.
Yep.
I read your proposals.
Oh,
That's where
I hope it wasn't terrible.
No, it was good.
Sorry, did you have
No,
another?
that's good.
Go ahead.
You mentioned trip generators, and you mentioned institutional buildings. What are other big trip generators making list of all that you can, all that you have on the top of your
I'll
head?
tell you right now, one of the biggest for us is the LDS church office building downtown. I mean, that is huge for us. So downtown is huge. The university is another top for us. I would say the LDS church office buildings and the university are probably our top 2. Licensed hospitals are big. Any universities are big. People think, one of the arguments for Sugar House was that parks are big trip generators, but they just aren't. That's just not true. So if you try to think of things in terms of what are the places that are being used 7 days a week, 24 hours a day? Hospitals, universities, large office buildings. They don't have really the 24/7 component, but they have large quantities of people going in and out sort of throughout the day, at least 5 days a week. So those are good ones. Yeah.
Can you talk about the airport?
I'm sorry?
The airport extension?
Yeah, what do you want to know? I did not work on that project, and I have minimal knowledge, but I will do my best to try to answer any specific questions you have. I mean, the airport line it's doing better than we anticipated. They have about, I think the number I heard was about 7,000 employees there. So not only are we carrying people who are using it for travel, but it's being used by people who are commuting to and from work, and that's another sort of 24/7 trip generator kind of a spot. And we're really excited about it. It's doing better than expected, and I hope that will prompt us to increase service.
And as part of your studies, part of the studies that you do, where you are just be interested in the decision between streetcar, rail, and just improving the bus service. Is the streetcar that different in the city?
A lot of the difference between bus and streetcar, other than the streetcar just has a dedicated path, and other than lane dedicated like ERTs, the bus doesn't have that. There's a stigma attached to a bus that isn't attached to other forms of transit. I don't really know what that's about. I only know that it exists. For whatever reason, rail is much more attractive to people than bus. And so even if you're talking about carrying the same number of people, the same
you know what, you mean for, Sugar House, or just kind of for wherever, or?
Wherever, I just live in cars.
Are those the only three kind of, is it train, bus, or streetcar, those are the only?
UTA is pretty heavily involved in, other things that you wouldn't necessarily think of. We have a lot of involvement in bike ped stuff. We are sponsored a bike share program. We're heavily involved in looking into bike accommodation stuff. We are right now involved in the UCAT study, which is the Utah Collaborative Active Transportation Study, which is looking at bike ped gaps everywhere from Ogden to Provo, and in filling those gaps, trying to set up a backbone network for cyclists, trying to make access better for people to get to transit. We are involved in ride share, car share, van pools. So there's a lot that UTA is involved in that's sort of under the radar, which is our fault. We're not really good at promoting those things, but all of those first last mile modes are really important to us because again, that increases ridership. I think you have a question? Okay, we'll go again.
Do you guys have a overall mission and vision statement?
Oh, that's an excellent question. I don't know an answer to, but I will say this. UTA's vision and focus is changing. I don't know how many of you are aware of the meeting that took place recently, maybe it was a month ago, that UTA and the board had with city leaders, where we really heard from the mayors, and they were saying, you know, we don't need to see these big capital projects. We are interested in small improvements. We're interested in BRT. We're interested in circulators. We're interested in streetcar. We're interested in this bike ped stuff. We don't need you to come in and do the big stuff anymore. And the big stuff has kind of been done. So I think we're really going to start shifting our focus to these smaller projects that don't cost quite as much money, and really service smaller areas, and really focus more on the needs of a smaller area. For example, the study that we're starting for downtown Salt Lake streetcar, that's part of sort of a group of studies that we're probably going to be kicking off, looking at core capacity issues and circulator issues within downtown. Because UTA is really a regional carrier, if you will. We do all of the stuff, we don't do it all really well. And now that we have the big stuff done, we're starting to look at things like how can we get people through downtown more efficiently? How can we improve our fares? Should we be going to a distance-based fare rather than flat fare? Is that more attractive for people? How can we make the first and last mile connections better for people, whether that's bike ped improvements or car share programs or better bus service. So I think that's really where you're going to see UTA going in the immediate future.
I'm sorry, go ahead.
Bus rapid transit.
Okay, and then circulators, I'm working on a project in Sandy. It's right at the end of the track sign right now with Security National Financial Corp. It's a cemetery, they've got some land there, and we do a multi-family project.
I'm familiar with this project. It's not mine, but I'm familiar with
Yeah,
it.
okay, so I'm financing, we're gonna close it hopefully in a week.
Okay. My counterpart that sits in the queue next to me, that's her
Oh,
project.
okay, and they're doing a land swap with UTA to kind of provide some access. Maybe that's why you're familiar with it, maybe that's what she's working on. That's also in the Sandy City's 30-year master kind of vision plan, which Mayor Dolan came out with May of last year, but they kind of just had this vision and not really hardcore ordinances and details for developers when they're trying to get a project done within that plan, which makes it difficult for developers and to get approval from the city. But they've also, the city's also kind of talking about a circulator requirement there. And I don't quite understand what that is, when you say circulator.
So it's trying to get people, so in Sandy, I hope that I'm picturing this correctly. The front runner line and the track sign are separated from one another, correct? They're not,
Yeah.
there's a separation there. And I think the circulator in that particular spot is about getting people connected
Okay.
between those two.
I see.
But also, and you'll probably see an RFP come out for this in the immediate future, is to looking at a plan for that area on how to develop it. And then as that plan is formulated, how to move people through there. To hopefully discourage people from having to drive everywhere. You know, you can take front runner in from wherever, and then you can get on this circulator, and you can kind of get all the way around, and then you can get back, and you can get on tracks.
Okay.
So trying to connect people between those two spots. Let me just get to them really
I was
quickly.
gonna ask, I don't know if you can talk to this, but how does UTA receive their funds, having ridership and the state? You know, the breakdown of this?
I don't know the breakdown. Richard is actually much more involved in this than I am, but I can tell you that funding comes from a lot of different sources. We do get tax revenue, although it's not as much as you might think. The numbers are actually quite low. We're sort of always in the red. A lot of money comes from partnerships, local money from cities, federal funds, grant money. It sort of depends on the project, what it is, where it's located, what its purpose is, who it will be serving, what it will promote in terms of economic development, or those kinds of things. So it's actually pretty complicated, and funding is, as you would imagine, hard to find. Sorry.
Yeah, I'll just ask one more question.
That's okay. I mean, the questions are great. I was going to talk about a whole bunch of stuff that probably is way less interesting than the conversations that we're having.
I'm having trouble seeing the economic fundamentals in TOD development. Maybe you can help me, or someone else in the class can help me. But if you're incentivized to help us develop the TOD property to increase ridership for you, and we're incentivized to put in a development because we have the possibility of receiving demand from transit riders, it seems to me that we're both looking to each other to feed us with demand. And in that case, I don't see the economic value add proposition at all. It's it's actually a little bit cannibalistic.
Well, I mean, I disagree sort of fundamentally. Do you want to speak to this question at all, or?
No, you go ahead. I'll tackle it when it's my turn.
First I will say that TOD is a completely separate division from my division, and you'd be surprised how siloed we become in our world, and how little we interact with each other on things that you would think we would talk to each other a lot about. So I'm definitely not the expert on the TOD stuff. And we were just having this conversation earlier that TOD is probably a little early for it here in Utah. But it does make sense to locate as many people as possible close to transit. From the transit agency perspective, obviously, for ridership. And from the developer standpoint, for access. So, I used the Washington, D.C. example earlier. I'll use it again. And you think about Washington, D.C. and the suburbs of Washington, D.C., and you think about where the most attractive places are. They're all around transit. Property values are higher. Those tend to be the nicer neighborhoods. They're better maintained. They have lower crime. That's where the activity centers are. And it's because people have access. It's very difficult to drive there. Gas prices are high. transit is everyone's first choice. So if you can locate close to transit, your development becomes the most attractive and the easiest to get to, the most accessible. So in that sense, it's good for both. It's good for the transit authority because they're getting the riders, and it's good for the developer because they're getting the people. Does that make sense, or am I not answering your question?
No, you did a great job.
Do you have any numbers on adoption rates and ridership down in the Utah County line, front runner to the south line? I've heard, and it may be just, just folklore, that ridership has far exceeded expectations of UTA in, along the south line. They started adding trains sooner than they thought they would, that, basically we're beating their projections on numbers.
That is true. I don't know what the numbers are. I can tell you that we have approximately 650 to 700 boardings per day at that station.
At the American Horse Station?
And I know that Richard has offered some ridership info, but it's too large to email out. So I think he asked that if anybody wanted that information specifically to contact him. He's much more of a number guy than I am. Unfortunately, like I said, that's the only number that I have about that specific station. But what you're saying is true. The ridership has been better than we expected, as it has been for airport. So we're obviously really excited about that. It's always nice to sort of beat the expectation.
What did you mean about?
Oh, sorry. Let me get him and then I'll get.
Okay.
You
Two
mentioned.
more questions and then,
Yeah, sorry.
you can conclude.
Okay.
Keep you here all night.
Oh, I'm sorry.
You mentioned it might be a little bit early here in Utah. Did they, in the discussion, was there a reason given? Because we're not landlocked yet, or
That's not a
was there any
UTA.
factors given on why it might be?
That's not a UTA position. That's a Jennifer McGrath position.
Okay.
And that's based off of just my overall knowledge of real estate, transit, just based on the fact that everything here is so accessible. And people think that we have traffic here, but if you have only ever lived here, you really do not. I lived in Los Angeles for 5 years. That's traffic. I mean, I spent 3 hours a day on the freeway, and I lived 15 miles from where I work. So until we get to a point where gas prices are so insane that we can't afford to drive, or that traffic is so bad that transit time is faster than drive time, that's when we're going to start to see that push for TOD. That's when it's going to become most attractive to people. I think we're moving in that direction, and I think people are starting to see that we're moving in that direction. They're seeing the value of that as an investment for sort of our reasonably near future, but we haven't been pushed into that corner yet. And that's where that comment came
I
from.
think one interesting kind of comment around what you just said is, if you look at some of the most attractive office parks and developments around the state and around kind of in the Wasatch Front, in my opinion, it's not the stuff that's downtown. It's stuff out in Cutler corporate area, off of 30th East and 215. It's down in Thanksgiving Point. It's 106 South there, River Park. In my opinion, it's the Boyer Building down by the Gateway. And the reason is parking is a lot easier and it's cheaper in some of these areas. And people want to work closer to where they live. And so instead of kind of making people kind of keeping the development downtown, making people continue to drive down there and struggle with parking and everything else, developers have located office parks closer to some of the residential areas so that people can drive there and still park for free and get in and out there really easy, as opposed to having to be forced to hop on a tractor and go downtown. So that's kind of.
And that's an excellent point that I keep mentioning. Parking is going to be another key factor. If you look at a city like Los Angeles or San Francisco or New York or Chicago, to park in their downtown business district is ridiculous. I mean, it's hundreds and hundreds of dollars. And so it does
in a roundabout way, you kind of answered my question. I find it interesting that, you know, we'll have issues with people saying we're giving so much money to the transit system, we're subsidizing so much, but you don't hear the same people argue about how much money we pump into the road system and how much we pay to have parking and all those different things to accommodate vehicles. You pay for that in so many ways that you don't identify on a regular basis that it's really tough to make an argument away from using public transit and trying to do as much as you can to build as much density around those so that more people can use that and get less people dependent on having to drive to the different destinations that they need to get to.
Yeah, that's an excellent point. I totally agree with that. There is a disparity, and it's something people don't really understand. Parking is a hidden cost. I mean, even when parking is free, it's free. You're paying for that in some way. So again, we'll get there. We'll get to a point where people start to make those connections and where it becomes more advantageous for them to use transit. Hopefully, when that happens, we will have an appropriate system already in place that it will make sense for people to use it, and it will be accessible and efficient and affordable for them to do so. I don't know how much time I have. I know that you wanted me to talk a little bit specifically about this particular site. I want me to run through just a couple things
Yeah, a
really
couple
quick.
more, yeah, let's do 5 minutes and kind of what you're,
I know you wanted me to talk about how we determine where the stations are located. Again, it's kind of a hodgepodge of things. It's availability of land, distance between other stations that have already been acquired. Political support is huge. This station in particular was sort of a toss-up between this and there was a Linden site. But that one was located next to like a sewage plant or something really unattractive. And the political support came from American Fork, so that's where it ended up. So those decisions are based on, again, a number of different factors. And it ended up here probably in large part due to availability of land, cost of land, and support more than anything else. American Fork, I know you guys talked to them last week. Richard just wanted me to stress to you guys again that probably their biggest concern for this site is they don't want transient housing, and they don't want only housing. They really want to create like a destination. You know, they want retail, they want office, they do want residential as a component. They want like a community gathering space. So just kind of keep that in mind as you're developing your concepts for the area. And then in terms of what UTA sort of hopes to get out of this, I mean, we're just excited that you guys even care to do it. Anything that you guys produce will be exciting for us to look at, but specifically, you know, the data collection that I'm sure we'll see. And I say that based on what I've seen these classes produce in the past. It's been extraordinary work. And then your ideas, specifically on what do you think is realistic in the short term as well as in the long term. So, for example, American Fork, one of their big concerns is transient housing, but maybe rental properties, that's what the market supports right now. So maybe your proposal includes rental properties that are maybe slightly more upscale, or could be condo conversions in the future, or places that have retail space, or that have rental space right now that could be converted to retail space on the main floor in the future. So just try to think of things that would work right now, because I know they'd love to see, you know, something sort of kick off in the immediate future, but also that would either work for the future as we sort of grow and develop, or they can transition into the future, because as we all know, things today, they're not going to be the same in 10 years. So I know that was sort of just really quick. I'm going to leave those business cards for everybody. If you have any questions, or if there's anything that you want me to try to dig into for you, I know there were a lot of questions I couldn't fully answer for you tonight. I don't have a lot of the data info, but I may be able to redirect you. Or if you just want to pick my brain about whatever, please feel free to contact me. I'd be happy to talk to any in advance for the work that you guys are gonna be doing. We're really excited to see what the end product's gonna be. And thanks for letting me play that with you tonight.